Hello fellow AFOLs and welcome to Long's Bricks. Today we are taking a look at LEGO City Space Set 60439. This is the Space Science Lab. It has 560 pieces and it retails for about $35. If you're one of those people that goes solely off like price to part ratio, this looks like an amazing deal, and I have to agree. I think this is a really fun set. It has the Space Lab over here. We get 3 minifigures over here. All very, very cool. We're going to look at the box quick because the box has something on it that I want to point out, and then we'll jump into the minifigures. So the box looks pretty good. Nice solid box. You have some nice artwork here on the front of the set with the 3 minifigures hanging out, looking for crystals and whatnot on an unknown planet. You have that beautiful silver space slice of the box here, which continues onto the side. But the thing I really wanted to point out, if you take a look here, it shows that this set can connect to the larger space station set, which I think is really cool. I love when the sets can connect and kind of build, larger play sets and things like that. So I just wanted to point that out real quick because I think that was really neat, and it shows you how it opens up down here, which of course we'll take a look at in a moment. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out on the box quick. If you have the other set, you can definitely connect these two together. So up first we have this tiny alien little friend. I think these guys are kind of cool. This new little unique body type I think we first saw with the Dream sets, and it has some really nice space printing there to make it look like he's wearing a space suit. We have this really cool like dual molded plastic helmet here. Now the visor on this design cannot move up and down when they have the larger visors. They cannot actually move. But if we take the helmet off, you can see the fun little alien underneath. I love that 3-eyed head. Now that's a normal minifigure size head, so if you wanted to use that on something else, you absolutely could. But it has some really nice printing there. No second face on the other side. And these little arms here are super tiny, but they do have kind of a grip just like a normal minifigure hand. So if you wanted to give this little alien guy a samurai sword, you absolutely could do that. Next up, we have a female astronaut wearing this navy blue and white color-schemed spacesuit here. Looks pretty cool. Really nice printing here on the front of the chest and on the feet and legs. I think that all looks really sharp. You have the dark blue arms there with the gold hands. And then on the back here, we have this kind of, I don't know if that's supposed to just be like a generic backpack or an oxygen tank. You can see that it has a stud there, so you could connect something there if you wanted to connect the alien guy. You could do something like that. Looks a little ridiculous, but I know some of the other sets kind of build out the backpack, so it does have a stud on there. I guess it's supposed to be like a jetpack or an oxygen tank. Not 100% sure. And then you have a dual molded helmet, very similar to the one on the alien, and that has the larger visor as well, so that is not going to be able to move. If we remove the jetpack and the helmet, you can see the face underneath. I guess she has a tattoo or something on the side of the face. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. And then you can spin around to the back. There's no second face on the back, but some really nice printing there on the back of the torso, which is normally covered up by the backpack. Up next, we have a male astronaut in a green and white spacesuit. He comes in a wheelchair, and I think the wheelchair piece looks pretty good. I think we've seen it before in other city sets. It's just a little weird to me to include it here in a space set, because if you're going to be, traversing unknown terrain on these weird planets out in space, can't we get this guy some kind of fancy space-age technology wheelchair, something like Professor X had back in the X-Men? I feel like he's going to have a hard time going over weird, rocky, and elemental terrain in this little wheelchair. So I feel like they should have done, I don't know, it just seems out of place to me. Like they should have given him some kind of fancier, built up hover chair or something like that. I just think that'd be cooler, but still a pretty cool wheelchair piece. The wheels do spin. And then this piece is one solid wheel piece here in the front, but you do have individual tires here with rubber tires, which is really, really nice. And then you can see the printing here on the chest and the feet. Fairly similar, if not exactly identical to what the female astronaut had, just different colored arms. I believe the printing on the back is exactly the same as well. Now this is a different style of helmet, so the visor here actually can flip up. But don't do that in space, because you need the oxygen. And then if we remove the helmet, you can see, I guess that's supposed to be hair on the sides of the head, although it looks kind of weird, because there's no other printing, there's no second face, there's no other hair or anything, so just kind of weird to see that hair on the side of the head like that, but otherwise a pretty cool looking little minifigure. So taking a look at the Science Lab, I think this is a really cool design. You have this dome on top that's been segmented into 4 even pieces so that it comes together to form a perfect dome. Very seamless. I think they did a nice job. I mean, these pieces really line up and it almost looks like it could be one cohesive dome piece, but of course this is going to open up, which we'll get to in a moment. I kind of like how it has these like little feet here on the edges and the corners. It kind of makes it seem like this kind of takes off and lands on the planet kind of just like that. I think that's really neat. You have a hatch here, we'll get into that. You have a door on this side, which looks fantastic. But what I wanted to get into first, so I was just talking about our astronaut in the wheelchair and how he needed some kind of hover chair so he could get around the planet's terrain. Well, they kind of have him covered. So you have this little piece here that he can kind of, now again, this goes up a little bit, and I feel like they should have done a little bit more of a ramp here, but you can kind of go up here, and then he kind of connects on like this, if I can get this to connect properly, there we go, and then this will detach, and now he kind of has like this, like hover sled. He can kind of fly around like this, which is kind of neat. I wish it would connect a little bit stronger. They did leave kind of a little divot for this front wheel to go into, but it's just a jumper piece like that, and it just kind of connects on, but it's pretty good. It doesn't fall off or anything like that. But you have this cool screen here, so you have a visual display while he's flying around. One sticker here on the front. Now, I'm assuming this is some kind of, you know, laser apparatus, or maybe it's a camera for studying the environment. I'm not 100% sure. You have these thrusters here on the side, which I think is kind of cool. And if you want, you can kind of turn them if you want to pretend like this has like VTOL capability. So it could kind of come in for a landing like that and then take off and then slowly rotate to change, you know, the direction of propulsion. And I think that's kind of cool. So I do appreciate that they gave this character a way to kind of traverse, you know, crazier landscapes on unknown planets by giving him this kind of hover sled, which I think is kind of a cool addition. So I'm going to put that off to the side. But that does dock here on the outside. So you can see that there's just another little jumper here, and this would just come in. And it doesn't really like have a specific spot for it to attach to. It's just another jumper. Now, again, if you wanted to kind of have the VTOL capabilities and say it comes in and lands like this, you absolutely could do that. And I don't know why, but I feel like, unfortunately, the wheelchair just doesn't connect to it as well as it could. While I appreciate they want to make it easy to, you know, get in and out of, it almost doesn't, it kind of comes off just a little bit too easily. But so that's where it can dock. It has one of these little battery pieces, which I think these are really cool. So throughout these space sets, we've seen these iridescent, well, I shouldn't say iridescent because they don't actually glow of their own power, but they're kind of translucent, kind of opaque, like metallic, sparkly purple cylinder pieces. And then they have these battery, this is a printed piece here, which is actually really nice. It's not a sticker, but it's almost like they're finding some kind of ore made out of this material and processing it into a power source, and then they're able to build these batteries with it. I think that's really cool. It's kind of a neat idea for the space exploration theme this year. And then these little batteries, there's a couple of them around the base, we'll see, and they can just kind of plug into these various places and power this. So I guess if he ever needs to recharge the sled, he can just go ahead and dock it and it can charge from the battery, and then there will be a way for him to get inside. Spinning around here, this is another nice printed piece with the space logo there with the planet and the spaceship coming around. Another one of these batteries here on the front, and that just pops on very easily to that jumper piece. I love the way this door is done. So it has this little keypad, that's another printed piece, and we can actually slide this completely out. And it's just a ton of these triangle pieces built on here to give it the like caution tape stripes. I think that's so cool. I love the way that works. It has this little slider here, so it just slides in, and then that's how you open and close the door, which I think is really cool. And this is actually a wheelchair accessible ramp right here, and we'll see this more when we get to the inside. But you can go up this ramp, and that's an easy way to get inside the base, so I think that's really cool. Swiveling around to this side, you do have a hatch, so this can open up, and this is the connection point where you can connect it to the other larger base station. So I think that's cool. Again, this has become a fixture of these space theme sets this year with this junction point and a couple of Technic pins, and that's how you can do all the different connections and things that we're seeing throughout the theme. So very, very cool. And then you just have this little hatch that can come down. It can be used as a secondary door if you want. Maybe the little alien could sneak in this way, something like that. And then you can just kind of close the hatch, which I think is pretty cool. Over here, just some windows. They're done in that kind of new dark black translucent plastic. Same for the dome up here. Not the old like yellowish gray, which, you know, in hindsight didn't look so good. This new darker translucent black I think really looks sharp. Very, very cool. So that kind of takes us all the way around the outside. So if we get ready to open this up. So you can see that there is a little sticker right here with an arrow, so you can go ahead and grab onto this handle, and that's how we're going to start to open this up. And there's not actually any hinge pieces. The way that these connect is just with these grip pieces. So very similar to this grip piece right here, and then you just have these little cylindrical pieces that have bars, and so they're just clipping onto the bars, and they're just swiveling around like that. No hinges needed, which I think is actually kind of cool. So you can see in the center here, there's this large tree, and this must be what they're studying, because if I take this off, which I think I should be able to unhook this. Yes, so this has very similar gripping pieces, and you can kind of see the piece that I'm talking about here. This cylinder, I guess it's not really cylindrical, but it has these two bars, and they use them on all the corners, and then the grip pieces just connect onto there, which is pretty fantastic. So again, we have our alien tree here, which they built up pretty well. I think the color scheme works really well. You actually have some pink frog pieces in here. They love to sneak their frog pieces in. You have these pieces here, which I'm not sure if they glow in the dark. They almost look like they do. I don't think they do. But you have these newer floral pieces with the flowers here, a couple crystals. Then you can see that there's a nice crystal here in the center, which you can actually pop out. And this would be like the ore that they're mining to make those batteries that I showed off earlier. So I think that's kind of cool. And that just connects to this blue jumper piece right here, which looks really sharp. I love that color of blue. Absolutely fantastic there. And you can play with the branches a little bit. They just kind of peg into these pieces here so you can move them around. And you can see almost like some of the ore as well kind of in the tree. So it's almost like they could mine that as well if they wanted to. But then the top of the tree just has this dome piece for all of the dome pieces to fit underneath. They have connections here, as you can see, but they don't use them. So I think it's kind of funny that the tree just has like a non-biological dome on top that I guess they must have just capped the tree growth or something. I'm going to put the tree off to the side just for a moment, and we'll come back to that later. So we can take a look at the inside. Now, there's not really a ton going on here on the interior. There's a couple of little stickers here. These are just, square 2x2 plate pieces that they put stickers on. And I'll get some close-up of these stickers here. So it almost looks like some kind of floral reading. Maybe they're taking a bioscan of the tree leaves or something to that effect. And then over on the right side here, maybe some kind of intercom or something. It looks like sound going from one character to another. So maybe that's some kind of intercom that they're utilizing throughout the base. Now in the second section here, this is where the tree was connected, and this is where the hatch is on the outside that we took a look at. So there's not really a ton going on here. And it is kind of weird that if this is the way I was going to connect it to the larger base, having the tree be kind of the first thing that you see as you walk in. So if you had a character coming from the other base, and it's already a little tiny, like you can't actually put a minifigure through it standing up. You have to kind of, put them to the side and tuck in. But then they would immediately be greeted by this tree right in the doorway. So that's a weird placement in my opinion. But again, we do have the door over here on this side, which can lift open. And then we have the wheelchair ramp. You can see that it is smooth all the way on that ramp. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't quite touch the ground. It does have like a little bit of a drop off there. But they can come in like that and then drop that door back down. I'm going to move the tree again here so you can take a close look. Over on this side, we have kind of a, living area. You have, this is just one of those pieces where the door opens. It almost maybe is supposed to be a microwave, if I had to guess. There's no printing or anything on it. You have a solitary mug there on top. Then you have one of these pieces, which I think is from Black Panther. I think this was one of the character's weapons, and I don't really know what that's here for. I really don't know what this is here for. It almost looks like maybe it's a large towel rack or something. I couldn't tell you. You also have these pieces over here on the side, and I'm not 100% sure what they're supposed to be used for as well. My only guess is that if you're having a character utilize the bed, and they want to take all of their gear off, so you can see you have kind of like a pillow here, which I guess this is supposed to be a blanket, and then one of these feet pieces so that the character can kind of connect their feet in there. You do have to worry about the windows, though, because the minifigure's arm is going to fit into that area, and so it could get in the way, but you can connect the feet. It takes a little bit of finagling, but if you put... Let me see if I push this down... There we go. So you can get the character in there. They will connect and they can lie down on the bed, which looks nice. And then they do have a... Let's see if I can get a better shot of that. So they do have a TV screen while they're lying in bed, and they have a sticker there on that flat tile. It looks like there's a soccer match that they're watching. So getting back to these pieces, now again, I assume this is supposed to be where they hang up their gear, and it almost kind of looks like the backpack is supposed to connect onto this, but it's very difficult because of the way this connects to get this to actually connect on here and stay. Because when you want to try to push it on, it's just naturally going to push this down. Oh, you know what I'm realizing? Maybe that's supposed to be a shower. I just realized that in the moment. I thought maybe I was supposed to connect this on here. But the problem was when you do that, you can't close this piece because it juts out too far. Maybe that is supposed to be a shower. Wow, that took me a second. And if everyone else realized that right away, apologies that it took me a minute. I guess that's a shower head and that's the dial to turn the water on. It's very tiny and it's not very apparent what that's supposed to be. The directions don't really make mention of it. I miss back in the days of the instruction manuals when they would show pictures of the minifigures posed around the playset utilizing all the functions, so it was very clear what they were supposed to be. This set doesn't really have anything like that. So okay, that's my best guess now. At first I thought it was supposed to be storage for the gear, but now I'm going to go with it's a shower. That's my official guess since this is the living quarters. But again, no shower curtain, just out in out and about showering. I don't know. Seems weird to me. Then we have this last section here, which is kind of a little science section. This is supposed to be a microscope analyzing a clear translucent purple tile there. We have another battery component. So we have just one of the cylinders this time with the battery printed piece there on the top. Taking a look at that. And then we have these two screens here. This kind of looks like a piece of the rock that we saw in the middle of the tree with some kind of genetic or like atom breakdown of the components, and then some more diagnostics going on over there. And then this is the section that the sled here is connected to. Now I guess technically if you wanted, you could pop this off and you could connect this somewhere else, and then this would be open, and maybe this would be a better place to connect to the other research center, because I just feel like that would make for an easier entranceway. And then maybe we could come around here and lift this up and then maybe connect this here instead. So you have some options, some playability. You can move that kind of stuff around, which I think is kind of cool. And then maybe just kind of bring this down, something like that. Maybe it rains on this planet and they just want to have a little area to cover them from the rain. I don't know. But it's cool. It gives you some options. You can move some things around like that, and I think that's kind of cool. Anytime you see this kind of connection, you can connect it to other ones of the same to kind of make like an airlock. And I think that's kind of cool. So again, whatever you want to do when you're connecting it to the other set, if you even have the other set. I think this is pretty cool in terms of the lab. The individual components, like the individual sections, in all honesty, like I think the science area is pretty cool. The living quarters make total sense. This section is really just kind of the front door, and then this section is really just for the tree to connect to. So I feel like these two sections are a little underutilized, but I think these are pretty great. And I love the way that you can fold this all back up, make sure that this fits underneath, and then you have this little connector right here, which is going to clip onto that right there, and then boom, it is closed back up. There, we make sure everything's connected there. And there we go. Honestly, I think this is a pretty fun set. I think the price is more than fair. 560 pieces for $35. I think that's a great value. I think you get a lot of good stuff in this set. You got a lot of nice printed pieces. A few stickers, not too many. I think there were maybe 6, 7 stickers in total. Really not too bad. But overall, I think this is a lot of fun. I love the door. I love the way that's kind of built up with the triangle tile pieces. I think that looks fantastic. I love how you can open it up. I love how it looks like a dome when it's closed up. And the fact that you can connect it to the larger science center. That's another set that's available right now. But you can also open it up and see everything inside. I love this little docking station, charging station for the kind of sky sled, whatever we want to call that, for the wheelchair character, because I think that makes total sense. He's going to need a better way to traverse these unknown worlds. And so I think that makes total sense. All 3 minifigures I think are great. The little alien's a lot of fun. The like translucent, metallic-y, glittery purple cylinder pieces I think are a lot of fun, as well as that kind of rock piece in the center of the tree and those translucent 2x2 kind of slope pieces. I think those look really cool as well. I love this new like dark black translucent plastic instead of that old kind of yellowish gray. I think that looks so much sharper. I just knocked the battery off of this. But yeah, overall, I've been enjoying this like space sub-theme for the LEGO City line this year, and we'll see what else we get. I'm hoping it continues the entire year. I think they've pretty much said that it's going to. But yeah, it's a neat little set. I really liked the build. I like that it's kind of this, biodome. They're studying this alien plant life and seeing what they can get from it in terms of, mining that and turning that into the fuel cells, which I think is kind of neat. You have the living quarters, the science center, which looks pretty good. I will say these 2 sections, with this just being the door and this just being the hatch that the tree connects to, a little underutilized there, but I think these other 2 sections make up for it in the fact that they have a lot of stuff going on in there. With the living quarters, with the bed, and I guess a microwave, and I guess a shower. I will say that wasn't really detailed out as well as it probably could have been, what those sections actually were. But yeah, there's a lot to enjoy here, and I think the value is definitely there. For the price, for what you get, I think it's definitely good, and definitely love the ability to connect to that larger science or space station. That's another set that's available right now. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking this one out if you're a fan of space. I don't think this one will disappoint. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.